What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I hope you like this video. This is going to be your review for Pose Season 3, Episode 2. You know, last night they gave us a 2-for-1, honey. So this is the second episode. Now, this one was called, I believe it was called Intervention. This episode was all about Pray Tell and them doing an intervention. We talked last episode about Pray Tell's drinking. So we start off this episode with Blanca being really worried. She's talking to Sandra Bernhard down to the job. Sandra said, listen, I ain't talked to Pray Tell in weeks. And she was like, well, why? And they have this flashback. They're at another funeral. Pray Tell shows up drunk and high. And him and her have words. And she basically tells him how disrespectful he is for coming up in somebody's room drunk and high. And Pray Tell was like, did you date him? Talking about the man that died. He said, oh, because I did. And so we're constantly reminded that what Pray Tell is looking at is his future. In his mind, he is looking at his future. And so they decided going to have an intervention. They get somebody from the hospital that that specializes in these things. And I'm going to say they are working with them and telling them basically, you know, this is what you need to do. This is what you should expect. They told them to write a letter to Pray Tell, explaining how they felt. And everybody was there. Now, the worst kept secret, which really wasn't even a secret because everybody knew, but I guess what the elephant in the room was that Angel and Lulu are turning into just straight up crackheads. I mean, and Lulu worse than Angel, but they are just constantly getting high, right? So they show up looking toe up. Poppy is there. Electra is there. Ricky is there. Now, Damon miraculously is not. Damon done had a relapse. Child, they done had Damon become a drunk, go to Alcoholics Anonymous, relapse, and disappear. All in 2 episodes. I don't know if Ryan Swain, who's the person who plays Damon, the real person who plays Damon, I don't know if something happened and they had to leave the show or what, but I feel like that was really sloppy the way they did that. Is that he was on one episode and then literally the next episode, oh, he had a relapse and he moved with his cousin down south. Where this cousin been all this time that Blanca been taking care of this boy? Like, where was the cousin when he was living in the park bench in New York? Like, what cousin? Anyway, I hope we come back around to that, but I feel like that's just gonna be the end of Damon, but whatever. And so they agree that they're gonna do the intervention, but the place where they want to send him for rehab cost $2,500. Now, $2,500 is a lot of money today, but certainly in 1994, with a lot of people not making a whole lot of money, $2,500 was almost considered to be like impossible. They say that they're going to walk in the next ball and they'll use the money from their proceeds to pay for it because each category has a $500 prize. Now, I don't know where they're getting all this money from, where the counselor's getting all this money from when they didn't even have enough money to pay the House of Con last episode. Now, and that was for one grand prize of $1,000. Now you're going to give each category $500, but that is not my issue or my problem. We're just going to pretend like they didn't have a fundraiser and sold some popcorn or some cookies or something, had a bake sale. I don't know. They don't raise the money. So Mother Electra says, I will be in charge of this. We got to get ourselves back in ball shape because ain't none of us been walking no balls. We ain't looked at no balls. We got to get back into the swing of things. So, you know, she's doing what she does best, honey. She is working them, you know, riding them hard and working them long or whatever, however the saying goes. Now, Miss Lulu is doing her whole Toni Braxton for Candy's number. They called it after Candy, the lip sync, and she got the whole look. When I say she got the look and the mannerisms, baby, she got the wig. Because she's doing You Mean the World to Me. When I say she looked just like Toni Braxton from that video, she had it going on. But Mother Electra said, this ain't it. This ain't it. This, you know, you're boring me. And, you know, everybody else was like, what you talking about? She looked good. And Electra was like, this ain't it. Like, I know what I'm doing. You know, I'm iconic for a reason. This ain't it. And then she ends up having a conversation with Lulu. And she says, listen, you've been losing a lot of weight. What's good? And Lulu was like, nothing. You know, I'm just on a little bit of a diet. She said, a diet, huh? She said, listen, I know you. I know you and I know your body type. Okay? This ain't no diet. I'm gonna need you to get it together. Like, you, Pray Tell ain't the only one around here that might need a little help, okay? What's going on? And of course, she didn't admit to anything, but Electra knew, and she knew, and she knew that she knew, and you know, it is what it is. Blanca is back at the apartment getting ready for her date. She had a do-over, you know, with her boyfriend's family, you know, parents, and she's sort of having the same conversation with Angel. She's sort of tiptoeing around it. But she's kind of talking the same thing to Angel about, you know, you've been losing a lot of weight too. What's going on with you? Now, Poppy had a whole situation where he came home and they were, Lulu and Angel were in the apartment high as hell, and Poppy know what's going on. And, you know, he's irritated with Lulu because I'm sure he feels like he's sort of blaming Lulu for it, even though, listen, people do what they want to do, right? And we know that Angel got a pass. And, you know, the two of them end up having like an argument about it. And he's telling her, like, listen, I need you to get your shit together. Because at the end of the day, like, I love you, but this is what, we're engaged, but we can't get married. If you out here getting high and you smoking crack, like, this is not going to work. Like, this is not the answer. And she was like, see, I knew it. I knew you didn't want to be with me. I knew you was going to leave me. He was like, what the fuck? He was like, I'm not. I have no intentions of leaving you. What I'm telling you is, as long as you are smoking on that pipe, we're going to have problems. So you either need to get it together, or we're going to have, it's not going to work. Now, you talking about me getting you work and everything. I can't send you out here on no jobs knowing you getting high. Like, that's not a good look for me. And, so, you know, they, you know, I guess they're going to figure it out. So Blanca is on her date with the Huxtables. That's what she calling his her boyfriend's family, because he's a doctor, and the father is a psychiatrist, and the mom is a lawyer or something to that effect. And so she was like, you know, these are the Huxtables. And so they were out at dinner, and the funny thing is, I did get the impression that she had clocked Blanca at the beginning. I felt like she didn't like Blanca because she felt like Blanca wasn't educated and Blanca was poor, and that her son could do better. Because, you know, you're a doctor, you went to Morehouse, and you're a doctor, and here you are dating somebody that barely graduated from high school, and I just felt like you could do better. But then we do find out later on that she did kind of clock Blanca. Now, she was a little passive aggressive towards Blanca. I didn't feel like she was out and out rude, but she was very passive aggressive. It was that underhanded snobby shit. And the son, aka Blanca's boyfriend, he was sort of like intervening. He knew what his mother was doing, and he was trying to sort of like intervening and trying to lessen the blow, so to speak. But Blanca nonetheless felt some kind of way. And the next day, she is with Angel and with Electra, and she's sort of telling them what happened. They're at the ball the next day. And they're letting her know, listen, girl, look, you got way too much self-confidence for all of that. Like, you know better. Like, you knew what was happening. You knew that woman, because Electra was like, she didn't clock you. And she was like, nah, she didn't clock me. She just, same thing I said. Like, she didn't feel like she got clocked. She just felt like she was talking down to her and was real condescending, and that he didn't defend it. And they were like, well, the Blanca that I know, you know, Electra was like, the Blanca that I met that had the shake and go, you know, pixie wig, you might have been a lot of things, but you never let anybody, you know, treat you any kind of way. Like, you always had that inner confidence. And, you know, Blanca was like, well, I need to get it back. And, you know, Electra, I keep saying Dominique, but Electra was like, yes, you do. She was like, and he does, and you're going to demand it from him. You're not going to take anything less, and you're going to let him know that you will not allow his mother to disrespect you. And either he going to stand with you or he going to stand against you. You figure it out. And so, of course, it was just the pep talk that she needed, because it fired her up. It definitely fired her up. Now, we see Pray Tell going to visit, oh. Sorry about that. So Pray Tell is gonna pick up, I believe his name was Castle. He was one of the council members. He's sick, and of course, you know, the insinuation is that it's HIV. Pray Tell goes to get him and says, listen, you're not gonna sit in this apartment weathering away. You're gonna come with me to this ball. And Um, he has a lot of his pills there now. Again, they've been accusing Pray Tell of getting high and popping pills. And, you know, Pray Tell was like, what you doing here with all these, you know, sleeping pills? And he was like, oh, you know, you want some? He was like, no, why haven't you been taking them? You know, he was like, oh, well, you know, I've been saving them up for a rainy day. And Pray Tell was like, what you mean saving them for a rainy day? Like, I know you're not planning on doing nothing. And he was like, no, you know, he was like, I can't go nowhere till my favorite show is over. And Pray Tell was like, what, Days of Our Lives? He said, the OJ trial. I need to know if he get away with it. And again, is the OJ reference, which I like. I think it's cute. But they end up going to the ball. Clearly, this man is very sick. But, you know, he gets enough strength and musters up enough to get to the ball. Now, Pray Tell does take some of them pills with him, okay? He gives him some, and he takes some of them pills with him, okay? They get to the ball, and he goes to the bar like he gonna get a drink. And Pray Tell was like, no, you're not. He was like, you don't need to have no alcohol. But Pray Tell is actually walking in the ball. He's doing the lip sync. Instead of Lulu doing it, Pray Tell end up doing the lip sync. And when he goes to get dressed, oh boy orders himself a drink, and he keeps drinking. Like, he is drunk. And so, of course, it's the House of Khan and Evangelista, and they are giving it to Khan. I mean, when I say they are giving it to Khan, they are giving it to Khan. But really, the difference in their scores at that point is only like a 1-point difference. But they've won every category, but not like, you know. I mean, of course, the category that Electra walked, she stomped on Miss, I believe it was Nefertiti. She stomped on Miss Nefertiti, okay? But then when Father Khan, no, it wasn't him. It was Ricky. I think the difference was 1 point or something. So the lip sync, Father Khan came out and did If by Janet Jackson, honey. Pray Tell came out and did Never Gonna Get It by En Vogue, and he was giving it. And of course, he was a crowd favorite anyway. Everybody loves Pray Tell, and so he ended up winning. But as soon as he won the category, what happens? His friend over to the bar, I believe Castle, I believe that's his name. I hope that's right. He ends up having a seizure, and they taking him away on the in the ambulance. And of course, Pray is upset, you know, but you know, Blanca tells him, she said, listen, we got to finish the ball. Like, you know, we got to finish this ball. And of course, he's looking at her like, what are you talking about? She was like, listen, he's going to the hospital. We're going to get to the hospital, but we got to finish up what we started here. So they end up finishing, and of course they win. The House of Evangelista wins, and they win the grand prize and everything. And later on, I don't know if it was later on that night or the next day, they all have a dinner over at Blanca's house, baby. And they end up bringing up the intervention. Let me tell y'all something. They almost had him. They almost had him, because he kind of was like, well, I mean, I guess I could use a vacation. I guess I could go away. And he was like, how y'all gonna pay for it? And they told him, you know, oh, I'm sorry, let me rewind. Before we get to that, Pray Tell was sitting at the bar only because I was loving this, because, you know, Leonard been getting on my nerves since the last episode. Father Khan, he because he mad and in his feelings that House of Evangelista whooping his house's ass. So he coming up to Pray Tell, talking about something, you know, sorry about your friend, you know, it must be, you know, must be bad seeing so many people die around you, especially when you know that's your future, something to that effect. Baby, when I say he grabbed back and punched the dog shit out of him, I said, I know that's right. Because he had actually pulled a knife on Pray earlier in the evening. See, I forgot all that. He had actually pulled a knife on Pray earlier in the evening because he got mad at the judges and told them they needed a recount. Pray Tell said, we don't do no recounts around here, you fool. But he was in his feelings. He gonna tell Pray Tell, I wasn't really gonna cut you. That's okay, because Pray Tell really punched you in your damn mouth. So anyway, they are back at Blanca's house, and they're, you know, telling him, and basically, like I said, they just slipped up and said too much, and now he done got on the defense, because he was already a little defensive, but he was kind of like, okay, I guess I could go to some rehab and give me some relaxation. Baby, they started pulling out them letters, and they started reading them letters to him. Oh, he is not here for it. He was like, that is just some old jibber jabber that y'all talking. What kind of shit is this? And listen, I don't know who wrote those reads that Pray Tell put on them people. But when I tell you that Pray Tell went around that table and read the dog shit out of every single person, and he went straight for the jugular. Told Ricky he won't shit, and that don't nobody want him, and that he just been trying to get back to Damon. Talked about Blanca being insecure, and the only reason why she keep her children around is so that she don't have to think about her miserable life. Told Electra that she had mental illness and that all she had was her dusty, empty bed to look for. I mean, when I say, and of course he just called Lulu an Angel crackhead child. When I say he went around the room and read the dog shit out of there, I said, see, that was one of those fights. I mean, you know it had to be love. Because, baby, that was one of those fights that I don't know we come back from. Like, some of the stuff he said to them, I don't know if we come back from that. But neither here nor there, he ends up leaving. And, of course, you know, he mad, they mad, everybody upset, and Blanca crying. And it just didn't go well. But, I mean, we knew it wasn't going to go well. They tried to do a little semi, you know, situation last season, and it ain't go that well. Anyway. So we see Pray Tell's back at the house, of course, pouring himself a drink. And Ricky done packed up his shit. He leaving. And of course, you know, Pray Tell told me, where you going? Ricky said, listen, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going. But what I do know is I'm not going to sit here no more. I'm not going to sit here and be your whooping boy. And I'm not going to sit here and watch you kill yourself. Like, I love you, but I won't do this. And so, of course, Pray Tell's what was his first line of defense? Tell him he won't shit and won't nobody want him because he's broke, out of work, don't have no education, and he HIV positive. And Ricky was like, I tell you what you're not gonna do. You're not gonna keep me a slave to you off of that. Like, you're not gonna scare me into submission because you got me feeling like don't nobody else want me. And then he sort of had a breakdown and he was begging him. He said, don't leave me. He was like, everybody leaves me. Don't leave me. And you know, in that moment, I ain't gonna lie. If I was Ricky, I probably would have changed my mind. But Ricky was strong. Ricky was like, I can't do it. And I feel like they've probably had that conversation before, and that's why the tears didn't work. Because when I say, I mean, Pray Tell had a full-on Viola Davis snot running, okay, type cry, okay? And he wasn't feeling it. He was like, yeah, I'm not. Nope. It's a no from me, dog. Then we have Angel and Poppy. Now, Poppy done got dinner for Angel, you know, and she was like, well, when did you have time to do that? He was like, I got my ways, you know. He said, I got you a job. I got you. He told her he booked her a new campaign, and she wasn't happy about it. And he was like, well, I kind of expected a better reaction from you. And she was like, well, that was just kind of quick. She said, you know, I need some time. And he was like, you need some time for what? She was like, I need some time to work on my sobriety. And we found out that Angel went to the sobriety coach that they had spoken to for Pray Tell, and had talked to her, and that she checked herself into an outpatient program. And so her and Poppy had a moment, you know, because she said that, you know, she doesn't want to be that person, and she wants to be better, and she wants to be clean, and, you know, all that good stuff. So then we see Blanca talking to the boyfriend, right? And she lets him have it. She tells him, listen, you know, your mom was rude to me, and you let her be rude to me, and I didn't appreciate it, and you supposed to have my back. So if you're not ashamed of me, then, you know, I'm going to need you to do better. And he was like, well, you know, since you mentioned it, they did invite us to dinner tonight. Blanca was like, yeah, no, I'm good. He said, no, it's sort of a do-over. She knows she was rude. So this is, you know, she sort of wants to have a do-over. So they get to dinner, and it's just the mom. The dad ain't there yet. And Blanca lets her have it. Blanca says, listen, you were rude to me. Like, I guess you clearly don't think that, you know, I'm good enough for your son. She said, what, because I'm uneducated, because I'm from the hood, or because I'm a transsexual woman? And she was like, I knew it. I knew you were one of them. She was like, one of them what? And she gonna turn to her son and say, listen, your dad, you know, he treats people like this, and, you know, how could you date one of these people? And Blanca was like, listen, I'm not about to sit here and be insulted. She turned to the boyfriend and was like, listen, either you with me or you against me, but I'm out. And so he stands up to his mother and he lets his mother know, listen, I love her. This is who I want to be with. And either you with me or you against me. But I tell you what, I'm leaving with her. You can let dad know what happened. And y'all can call me when y'all ready, you know, to accept Blanca. Other than that, you know, I see y'all at Thanksgiving. Okay. What in the world? Sorry. So Pray Tell then showed up to it looked like it was another funeral. Looking a whole hot mess, honey, with some pajama bottoms on and his shirt half buttoned up, looking a mess. And he's there with some of the members of the council, and you know, he apologizes. He said, "I'm sorry, I haven't been around. You know, I apologize." Almost as if they had an argument or something, which we didn't see an argument, but I guess maybe just the way he's been acting and the fact that he hadn't been around. But you know, they hug it out and you know and all that good stuff. And he said that he's been working on his sobriety and you know he's sort of detoxing. And he asked where's Castle, and they said, well, we haven't seen him since he got out the hospital. He didn't check himself into the hotel he had talked about when he said that when he get ready to check out, you know, he gonna go up to the hotel and watch his soaps and just drift off into La La Land. And so Pray Tell them showed up. But luckily for him, he couldn't go through with it. He said, you know, I had it all set up, but I couldn't go through with it because I want to live. And Pray Tell said, I want to live too. And so the next thing we see is him go to Blanca. And they cry because they friends. And that's what happens with friends. You know, we go through it. We cuss each other out. But at the end of the day, we love each other. And the next thing we do is we see Blanca driving him upstate to the rehab place and her checking him in. So that was episode 2. So I guess we'll see what ends up happening for the rest of the season. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.